Hello and welcome back to the Daily Conjecture vlogcast. This is episode 2, and I'm in a different setting now. I'm in a public setting. I wanted to experiment with the audio. Hopefully, you guys will be able to get my voice clear enough. I do have a exterior microphone that I can use to plug in. I basically just need an adapter to be able to do that. So in the meantime, just still working with what I have with this setup here, just with the microphone on the laptop until I can get some different software and some different stuff going. Today's video will be a bit shorter. As you can see, I'm wearing my work clothes. Will be giving as much value to today's video as possible with the bit of content that I have collected for today's video. Before we get into it though, I was able to hang out with one of the people that I spoke of previously, potentially trying to collaborate and do some content with, either on this channel or at least in some form within the next little bit. So hopefully I can get them on board and we'll see what we're able to do, what kind of fun and informative sort of content we can create. Really excited for it, really looking forward to it. Real quick, I did want to touch base on the previous video, the first video I made, the first long form video I made, on which I was having some issues editing. I'm still learning how to use that, what editing I can from the YouTube editor. I need to see what other kind of third-party software I can get my hands on and download so I can have that to be able to edit properly and then sort of start implementing some other things as well. So I'm very looking forward to that. And then the other thing I wanted to say is, as I reviewed sort of my demeanor and some of the language and body language, with my hands here, that I, in some points I might have looked kind of silly, I might have looked a little bit ignorant, or just otherwise maybe I seemed a little bit standoffish. Hopefully I didn't come across as rude or anything like that. Kind of like talking about the difference in professionals, those that are considered experts in their fields to this day because they either went to school or had proper training, in-job training, and worked themselves up to a point where they were considered an expert. Obviously, I don't expect anyone to take my word, someone who is untrained in any one type of field, over that of what someone might be considered a professional. Something I found a little bit funny was at one point I remember seeing one content creator, kind of having this inquiry about, like, what does that mean? What does it mean to be professional? And that it simply means you work in that field, in that profession, as a primary job or career, your primary source of income. That is what you do to be able to define yourself as a professional. In the event that I am able to do daily content like this by this time next year, or rather by June 1st of 2024, I will, I hopefully will be able to not only say it, but actually feel it, and it be clear that I, am serious about doing this content in this form for this vlogcast that I am doing, as well as some of the other content I'd like to do, especially getting into the more sort of entertaining content, possible games, and then some of the other content that I want to do as well. So I'm very looking forward to it. It's just a matter of building myself up to that point to where I am able and ready, both technology and that I've gathered my material and done my research to be able to make some good content as well. So yeah, other than that, we'll just jump right in. This video will be significantly shorter. I didn't prepare I prepared a little bit more than I did in the very first video I posted, which ended up being like an hour and some long. Also, because I do have to go to work after doing this, uploading it. Hopefully I can figure out how to edit at least a little bit. If not, then I will just go ahead and start posting these. And again, as I go back and review them and see like some mistakes or some areas that I can improve on, I want to be mindful about that, so I'm able to move forward and progress and keep getting better and better at this thing called YouTube. And of course, as I integrate other platforms and sort of branch out and start networking a little bit more, start advertising and doing this and that and getting everything out there, I do plan on using, right now, as far as what platforms I'd like to be able to use to make this all come to fruition and kind of just circle itself around and just kind of feed off of it itself in a way. And help it expand and branch out more to more and more people. A total of 6 off the top of my head that I know for sure, or at least the 6th one being the one that, like, if I don't personally find a way to integrate that into the things that I want to do, hopefully the person that I spoke about potentially working with, maybe they'll want to get into that. So we'll see how it happens. But so starting with the first 3, and then there are 3 more that kind of pair up with each 3. So the first one being YouTube, of course. Now, the one to pair with YouTube is whichever platform I end up choosing specifically for the podcast itself. I did notice there is an option to make, once you hit create, there is an option to create the podcast. So that should be interesting as I look into that, see what I need to do for that. If I'm able to transfer the content that I've already put out in the last very first video, as well as this one, into the form of a podcast, how that's going to translate, what that's going to look like just on this platform, as well as perhaps carrying it over to another platform if needed. I just got to do some more research on that to see what that's going to look like and how that's going to play out. So those 2 will be paired together. The second being Facebook, and then the platform to be paired with that is LinkedIn. I do have a LinkedIn that I was using for more personal, business networking and just personal connecting in that kind of way. Kind of a personal profile builder with my experience and what I was looking for. I had created that originally on my sort of personal business portfolio, so to speak, to sort of further myself into one of the other things that I was looking into that wasn't feeling right a few months ago, and I haven't really touched it since. I haven't really touched it up. I haven't added anything. I did create a group on there called Tiki's Tech, and what is it? So it's basically, it's supposed to be a group for techies, basically. It's called Tiki's, but it's for techies. It's a acronym. It stands for it's abbreviated. Basically, so people can share different kind of new technologies going on in the world, whether that be in the AI world, social media, or gadgets, and that sort of like in the more hardware sense. Ranging from renewable energy, all the different stuff that goes into that, to space tech, and just to different machinery they're using in agricultural, because that will eventually be a big part of this channel. Is that that evolution from now to next year, this time next year, seeing where I'm at. There, all the things that I will be interested in, that I am interested in, and that I plan to make content about, it all pertains and it all comes right back around to exactly what my goal is to start this project, what that will look like once it starts coming together. Be very, very fun, very exciting, very looking forward to just seeing how this is all going to play out. By the way, I did notice that I do say that a lot, but that is just because I want to show that I am enthusiastic about it. I may have, a bit more of a serious kind of persona about myself, or at least that's how it's starting out. Doing this, just starting this now, there is a bit of nervousness along with it, but as I go about and perfect my own internet personality, so to speak, and the things that I want to do and talk about, and so I'm once again looking forward to improving myself and then improving my communication as well. So going back to the platforms, Facebook and then LinkedIn, those two are sort of paired together. Create the pages that I need to, which I need to get on that as well, so that it's all solidified. I have something going on for each one that's going to enable me to make each platform work to its maximum output for what each platform is used for specifically, but be able to make it flow in a way that makes sense, and that if I am able, if I do have a link on the Facebook page to my last video, this one or whichever one, by the time I make that page and then start sharing links on there, that way you'll be able to see that, click on that, go to my link here, and I'll be able to get the views I need to get this thing going. The third platform with its potential pair platform, the third being Instagram, which I'm already on for my own personal use. I need, same thing, make a separate page for this, which I plan to do with Facebook as well. That will be, that one I'm super looking forward to with Instagram, because I do plan to, again, just utilize that platform specifically for at least what it was originally intended with, more for you to get just a glimpse there, whether it be posting on the story, which I do have for my personal Instagram. I do have that paired with Facebook, with my personal Facebook, for posting stories. That way, anything I post on Instagram, you can always turn it on or off if you don't want to share it to Facebook. But in this case, absolutely have the Facebook page, the Instagram page, be able to share it on Instagram. It will automatically be shared to Facebook, which I like. Of course, as everyone knows, Instagram is owned by Meta now, so that they're all under the same tree, essentially, all under the same roof, I guess. The one to be paired with that, I say potentially, is what seems to be probably one of, if not the biggest ones being used right now in social media, is TikTok. Probably one of the biggest mobile use applications, platforms people are using for just one-off, quick little shorts, continuous content with the same content. They're making a succession, a series out of that, essentially. A lot of comedy type of content on there, a lot of fashion and art type of content, and just a lot of good interest. The more I've actually looked into it, the more I've seen, and so I mean, at this point, it might just be a no-brainer. So we'll see. The reason why I think TikTok pairs well with Instagram is just sort of the fashion of how both of those apps work. Obviously, I don't use TikTok right now. I need to learn how to use it, but maybe just in a general sense, being able to post short little videos or pictures, and then maybe if you can post stories or reels, I'm not really sure. Shorts like there are on YouTube Shorts, which is essentially more or less is going to be something that you might see on a story. And then just at that point, seeing what all kinds of shorts I want, once I actually can figure out this whole editing thing, then I'll absolutely be able to take little segments of the videos, of these videos, which will normally be in more long form. It will normally be in long form content or format, whatever you want to say, so that it is just goes through and then I'll be able to have different parts of the video like split up into different segments, and then eventually the more creative I get, as you saw at the end of the last one was the quick little Lego build that I did, just the unbagging of the little Doctor Strange minifig. I did originally plan, I'd like to be able to do something like that in every video eventually, so we'll see how that plays out. But if it doesn't play out so that there is something at the end of every video, then it might even just play out to be something different. Like it might not be the same thing every time, which I think would actually be good. That way, at the end of the video, you don't really know what to expect. I mean, I guess unless you skip to the end of the video, and then you can just see, or maybe scroll over and it'll show it just like a little, kind of how you scroll over when you're watching a video, and you can see that at the end. You'll be able to see, you might have a general idea. Fun stuff, maybe just a quick little surprise, but I'd like to, I'd like it to be so that, if you wait till the end, then you'll get to see something fun, or maybe we'll be able to come up with some games or something, some ways for some engagement. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And besides that, as far as the editing goes, at first I was a bit skeptical, just since last night reviewing what I'd posted previously yesterday, and just kind of being a bit skeptical, maybe a little bit hesitant as far as like how should I edit these parts out, and like the parts that kind of seem weird or tacky or anything like that. Now what I'm thinking is I just stay the course with having it be a one-off, hit record and just go through and get through the content, make it as lengthy as possible. I'd like it to be somewhere around the 45 to 50 minute in length. Once I get the ball rolling and actually get a groove and get a good feel of how things will play out with me doing this long form content. Today was a little different. This morning I basically got a call and ended up a friend was in a need. They just needed a ride, so I ended up going and giving them a ride. But then we ended up hanging out a little bit, and we just spent the morning. We went to the park, and we were just I just basically just engaged in conversation with them, for the fifth or sixth time that we've kind of started talking about this, because I've been telling them that I've been wanting to do this and seeing if they want to do some stuff as well. Some of the more fun gaming content, any kind of music, because they're big into music as well. That's what they want to do. That's their goal. So if that at that point is very much would make some very good content for us to be able to collaborate and put out some music related content. We were talking about one song specifically by a band that we both love, a band that I've loved since childhood, a cover idea. So hopefully we can make that happen. I'd even, because this other person is a vocalist, is a singer, so I actually gave them the idea, if I send them recordings of the guitar parts, I can have the rhythm and lead guitar parts recorded, and then just send them to that person, to the singer, so that they can go and put their vocals over it, make a little bit of a cover of it, maybe even do a little bit of drums over it too to fill it out, fill it in. Maybe like not like a full band kind of cover necessarily. It very well may be more of a unplugged sort of cover, acoustic, than like a full band kind of setup. So it very well may just be guitars and vocals. So we'll see. And that again, we just discussed that very very briefly as I'm just as we're kind of hashing, kind of going back and forth with how we envision, making creative content, and as well as engaging with what's already out there, what already exists, putting our own spin on it. Make sure this camera, it does look a little pale from the sun coming in, so I could have lowered the blinds. What can you do? Next time, eh? But so yeah, as we're figuring out and just kind of stewing over the details and exactly how we want to make this a complete thing, get a studio space, somewhere where you can actually set up, have backgrounds, get the blue or green screen and mess around with that, get the software, get the knowledge, get the skills, get the know-how to start pumping some stuff out. As I'm doing this every day, I'm quite sure that I'll be, looking into seeing what other software and websites there are that help do content, help make videos. I mean, I know there are already some from the more helpful content that I've seen on here from some of the creators. So I'm very looking forward to that as well. Other than that, it's, it absolutely is a process. It goes more into, because this series for the vlogcast is absolutely free form, is me just hitting record, going forward. That's kind of what I was saying before too. Right, as I'm figuring out what do I want to edit or edit out, cut some stuff out, this and that. But this way, I feel like I can just go through and it will be a long form video, and then that's where I'm learning. I'm reviewing and learning, and again, hopefully I can get some feedback as I keep doing this. Hopefully I get some good feedback. Eventually I end up reaching out to other content creators, especially the creators on here who have these videos on how to make a YouTube channel, how to be successful in that niche, and what all platforms and resources are you utilizing. So it's gonna be it is absolutely it's another thing to be mindful about. So without further ado, we will go into the core of today's vlogcast, which is basically in the form of a question, which actually much of the material I have already started working on is in the form of a question that very well might end up being the title for the videos as the days go on, just so you at least know what the subject of the day, even if it takes 23 minutes of me in just the vlog form, what I'm thinking, what I want to do, what direction I want this to go in. So the question is, do you have goals for your dreams? Do you have dreams? What are they? What do they look like? How do you envision it? Are they wholesome? Are they coming from a place of true warmth, like true how you're feeling? Like, do you have good motives, intentions? Are you more focused on producing something that is gonna make millions and gonna have millions of views, or is it just what you're passionate about and that you want to see come to a more physical outlet, producing something that's going to help you and further yourself and help you get to the place that you want to be. So yeah, do you have dreams? What are they? What do they look like? How to set goals for your dreams. This can be anything from like small to large to like, I need to make a change in my budget. I need to do something financially different. Even from that to just from your job, from whatever your job you're doing right now, what your primary source of income is, to really ask yourself, is this getting me to where I need to go to be able to achieve my dreams. And some people see it in a very, I mean, it's not a bad thing either. It's just seeing it in a very simplistic manner to where you're just working your job, you're working your 9 to 5 or whatever your full-time job is. You know, you get in this kind of routine where it starts to feel like you're doing the same thing over and over again. And again, depending on, you know, personalities and some other factors, obviously for someone like me, I don't have, you know, immediate dependence. I don't have my own kids or pets, any kind of animals like that. Something that actually requires me to work in a more steady form so that I'm able to take care of them. That's not the case with most of you, I'm guessing. So at that point, then it starts becoming like this is a necessity. I need that job security of working this full-time job. And, you know, maybe it's something good. You know, maybe it absolutely is something good that you have going on. You're working full-time. You're working. You make good wage, or if you make a good salary, hopefully that's a good position for you as well. Hopefully it's not a position where, you know, I've worked with people like this before, to where it's like they're getting paid salary, but they're also having to work these like sort of extra hours. They're not getting, there's no compensation there. It's just expected. It's part of the position, and it's what they're used to, and it's what makes sense. And so you know, maybe the majority of people like that are used to that, and then there are some, such as myself, who haven't had that. Haven't really actually had that sense of jobs, or haven't really felt that sense of job security in most of the jobs that I've worked, in terms of like, I could do this for an extended period of time and be okay, do the things that I want to do, meet the goals. Probably the closest thing that I have felt like that in terms of jobs is working in management. So in total, you know, 3 years, 2 years at the one, and then 1 year at the first manager job I had. So that was absolutely something that, you know, made it clear that this is something that, like, if I focus on it and do better, you know, just keep sticking with it, enhance my people skills, manager skills, that, you know, something I could do for longer periods of time. And then, of course, having that experience, other places can see that as well. And then that's where the job security falls into place, even if it's kind of, you know, a between jobs thing. And again, someone like myself who does not have immediate dependence at this time is way different from someone who has a family to take care of. So I absolutely understand that as well. Next up is, every decision you make affects your dreams, your life. Everything you do, it affects, you know, the rest of that day. Like making that decision in the morning, spending a few extra minutes getting ready, I mean, could potentially make you late for work. But then, you know, while you're at work, spending a couple extra minutes on that project, on that job, in the workplace, you know, could benefit you exponentially. Could get you, you know, a raise, get you noticed, but hopefully, you know, get you noticed, and could benefit you very greatly as well. But just in general, like, even just in general life choices, choosing how you spend your free time can, I mean, I feel like it absolutely, even if it's subconsciously, affects long term, in terms of how you view, you know, just what you're doing for work, how you're spending your free time, how you're spending your time and money, on the things you want and need. So absolutely makes you more aware of that as you start thinking about that. You know, how do you spend your time and money? Is it promoting productivity, efficiency, consistency? Does it make sense? You know, and just kind of the whole thing, like, does it directly correlate to the goals you have, what you want to do, those dreams that you want? Good thing to think about what skills you have and what skills to learn, which is, you know, exactly the boat I'm in right now, is me learning these skills to be able to do the things I want, daily, you know, and setting good goals too. One goal I have right now on learning skills and just increasing, mostly is increasing my literacy, is I'd like to do something very specific, which right now is probably going to be something I announce closer toward the end of the month. If I can do this thing that I want to do, this skill, which at some point I will reveal. Once a month is my goal right now for that specific skill that I want to learn and want to increase my literacy, to be better communicator and present ideas better and think things through better as well. So right now with that specific goal is once a month. So I'm super looking forward to that. I just, it's a matter of disciplining myself to meet that goal. And once you do, you told yourself you had to be the boss of yourself, and you had to set goals that were realistic, responsible, making sure that you're, taking care of yourself, right? Don't like set goals that you're just going to be like, struggling like at the end, like, going up to meet the deadline and you're just kind of struggling to make things through. If it gets to that point where you start becoming stressed out, then you're gonna need to like ask for some help or some advice. If not from your own boss, maybe you feel a little nervous about that. You want who you're working for to see you perform well and do the job correctly and accurately and consistently and on time. But at the same time, if you're starting to feel a bit of struggle, you gotta do something. You gotta go out and look for help. You gotta go and ask for somebody. Go online, see what kind of resources you can get, because there's so much out there. So if it does get to that point, make sure you're taking care of yourself. You're not being unhealthy. Your mental health is not drooping, right? Is not deteriorating because you're so overwhelmed at work, or even if it's just one project that you're struggling to meet the deadline with. So your resources and resourcefulness, same thing. Just being aware of that. And I may or may not have said in the previous video, your resources are only as good as your resourcefulness. They're only as good as how big your motivation is to go out and use those tools. Use the tools for your advantage. In the age we're in now, we're so. I say dependent on technology in a way of like, in the way that we use it to benefit us, for the betterment of ourselves as people, as individuals, but also in the workplace, so that everything is nice and solidified and organized as well, and is clear and concise and makes sense and gets to the point. You provide that product or service, or you go to present it, and it just flows, and you make a sale. And so even if it's just selling yourself, right? Even if it's just selling yourself, and you end up getting the job to do this project. So working jobs and product, service, supply and demand. I think on this note is kind of how I've said, like, that some of us, kind of just like in maybe just a very basic standard or basic structure, I guess, of that 9 to 5, just working jobs, make that job security, paying bills, having a living, taking care of my loved ones, doing the things that I want to do. All of these things fall under that. At that point, all of those things are dependent on that job. I did get this sort of thinking from another content creator in terms of, what if you took that energy of having that traditional 9 to 5 or 7 to 3 type job, you take that energy and those hours, right? 8 hours a day, but you take that time instead and shape that into your content, what you want to do, what you want to, produce, and what you have to offer the world. Now, obviously, I'm not spending 8 hours, making one video or one piece of content. On that note, too, as you do it more and more and start getting better at it and start utilizing the different technologies, you could very well break 8 hours into 2 4-hour segments, or 3. What's the math there? Not 3, 4, or maybe 4 2-hour segments. Break it up into segments, and you're going to take a lunch break. So it's like you might do 2 hours, 2 hours here, 2 hours, 2 hours here. Don't make it something that is like, of course it's going to be a bit difficult, but that's you want to be able to embrace that. You're shaping yourself, you're shaping your craft, your product or service, you're making it your own. You're looking out into the world and seeing what there is at your disposal, and in a healthy way, not in a leeching way, right? Not in a parasitic way, but literally just using what resources are at your disposal to benefit you, to progress you, to further you, to do what you want. So that's how I see it, is in terms of like the difference between just doing a job to pay bills and its security, and versus actually like pursuing something. Now, on that note as well, if you do have the time, there are absolute powerhouses of amount of just work, just hardworking individuals out there, to the point where they have families and their job, their full-time job. They have the full-time job, they have to take care of their family when they get home, and they're still trying to pursue these things. One that comes to mind, I'll try to include a link in the description of this video, is the single mother that came to mind, who had 3 kids. This was like probably mid COVID era, maybe like 2021 or 22, I think. And she ended up quitting her job to start her own coaching business, ended up making $1 million in her first year, like the single mom. So, I mean, those are the types of people, you learn these stories from people who maybe are, or not maybe, but people who absolutely, are kind of struggling to make things work, trying to figure things out. But that single mother made a decision to cut it off with the more jobs, maybe that's the job security, right? Especially being a parent, into doing what she wanted to do, wanted to pursue. However, that ended up evolving and playing out, and then making $1 million in revenue in the first year. So those are absolutely the types of stories to learn from, types of people to inquire about as well. Priorities and limitations is next on the list. That's I put in parentheses vice and virtue. So this is where you prioritize the things, again, just setting goals that further you to what your dream is, what your end goal is. So prioritizing the little things that come and go throughout your day, and just being mindful about that, whether it's financially, I put vice and virtue. That's sort of me saying, like, are you partying a lot, right? To the younger people out there, is like, and I mean, it's when you're younger, it's not as, like, I never felt a sense of urgency as much as I do now in doing this. I suppose primarily because now I actually did set the goal of it being a daily thing. So then that puts the fire under my butt, and gives me a bit of like a sense of responsibility, self-responsibility, that I'm actually very confident that this will also kind of increase my self-respect as well, because then I know I followed through with my goals to the best that I could, Then I know also I can maybe like do an end of month review to where I can just sort of try to gloss over as much of the content that I created in that month and just see exactly how I can improve. What is there anything I missed that I didn't catch in doing, like, you know, post edit review, or not post edit but post publish reviews, and then so I can constantly improve upon that as well. And then limitations is it sort of goes along with that in the way of, you know, if in your mind you're telling yourself, like, you know, kind of making excuses and like for me right now with doing this, I might create an excuse or a limitation by saying, well, I could absolutely be making maybe better videos that have better audio, better video, better quality. I can operate my desktop computer a little bit better than this because I know it well. I know it better. There may or may not be better video editing software that I can get on my desktop that has higher processing power, or maybe not. Maybe I just need to do a little more research here, see what I am able to do here. And that's the thing too. Me doing this, just starting off, is absolutely paving the road, right? For me to, you know, start getting into some better quality, you know, using better quality equipment, so, making it a goal, making it a priority to improve. So there's that as well. And then, you know, of course, for the, like, you know, me, I already have it. It's just a matter of having an actual physical location to set it up. Obviously, those that don't have that, maybe don't have a lot of money, have no money, but they might just have a phone, right? They might have a phone. And then, yeah, if you have either a phone or a computer, you want to just jump in and start doing it. I absolutely, by all means, encourage it. The next one is, well, technically the next one I had on the list was focus and determination. So the one after it is make a list of 5 to 10 things you can do, 5 to 10 goals, even if they just, you know, start off small. Start off with small goals that can enable you to achieve that one big goal. So you can make a list of 5 to 10, and then that's where focus and determination comes in. So make a list of the 5 to 10 things that will further you, those smaller goals that will help you achieve that bigger goal, which for me right now is essentially just doing things every day, doing something every day, posting something every day. Hope, you know, it'll be a little bit busier for me this weekend because I do currently work on the weekends only at my job. And then throughout the week, that's where I'll be able to pick it up more and then start doing the editing, getting into the editing. Right now, that's my primary goal for this upcoming Monday. So looking forward to that, which is June 5th, I believe. So that's my goal right now, to look into seeing exactly what all editing software I'm able to use with the tools I have at the moment, to start pumping out maybe 2, maybe 3, 4, 5 different things a day, to really just drive it home with some of the things that I have been talking about already, and some of the things that I care about, some of the things that I hope to expand upon in the future as well. And then just focus. Just, you know, I don't necessarily encourage like the sort of tunnel vision that intense. Like, you know, like when you're on your job, like whatever that may be. So for me working this job this weekend, that's where my focus is. I do also have a goal with that job as far as like how much I'd like to make, because it is a serving job. It is working for tips. So that is the job. That's the name of the game. There's no guarantee. You know, hearing not just here, but just at other jobs I've worked as well. Just this struggle that I see in others, like that they are struggling. Either they're not making enough, there's something that they just have a problem with how the job operates, just these little things. And I mean, there have been times where I've asked them, what to do next. Like, what is your next move, or like what's going through your mind? Like, how does it make you feel, that kind of thing. But like, it's one thing to feel a certain way and stay there and be upset, be mad, be confused, irritated, and stay there. That's how I see like feelings. Like, feelings are a way of telling you something that you're observing. It's gonna make you feel a certain way, but you just got to be careful. You don't want to stay there. You need to find out what you're going to do next, what to do to make it to the next step, to get to where you need to be. Now, depending on your situation, I mean, you might be someone who is working a job, taking care of your kids, your family, your dependents. You don't like the job. In your mind, you're like, man, the job pays decent. I don't really like it that much. Or there are some things that are just kind of irritating me a little bit. What I advise, if you're in that position, is do your best to, respectfully go to your manager, supervisor, superior, go to your higher ups. Try to go to someone in your immediate team first to try to resolve a solution before going to HR or anything like that. I've had not super fruitful experiences in those moments where I chose to just go to HR as opposed to just kind of go directly to the supervisor. And on that note too, if you find no success in directly going to that individual superior, manager, supervisor, or potentially even a coworker, again, pull them up. Timing is everything. Pick your battles, right? So that's a thing. Absolutely very important thing. I've learned it in jobs I've worked before, to pick your battles. But yeah, if you are able to kind of, time it so that you can, hey, you got a second, pull the person to, make sure you pull them to the side. You can do the sandwich thing, which is like compliment, critique, compliment. That's like the sandwich critique, or whatever they call it, where you start with a compliment, tell them what the critique is, what you observe, maybe they can improve on, and then you compliment that again. Now, typically that tends to be more of like from a manager to an employee type thing. If they want to, increase the employee's performance, they might do this in that kind of manner. So I mean, you may or may not choose that approach just by going to like a coworker or something like that. I suppose at that point, that'll be your call. If you do decide to do that, just make sure you have a good approach. Make sure your tone is good when you're speaking to them. Try to make it as straightforward and realistic as possible, while also being being willing to find a solution. Try to help that person. Come to a different way of thinking that is going to enable them, it might be a light bulb comes on in their mind. If you word it in a way that helps them kind of think it, see it in a different light, think about it in a different way, I think could be very, very beneficial. Even if both you individuals, sort of end up going your separate ways, you might never, speak to that person again, that coworker. You might never hear that person's complaint said in that same way. But then you may still also get little to no positive results as well. That's just something you'll have to be prepared for. So that's up to you. If you feel like if that is you're in that position, there's something about your job you don't like, by all means do something about it, and don't just stay there. Don't be stuck. Life is short and the world is huge. There are many things to do. I'd even brought this up to who I was with today, as far as someone else that I remember saying for the city we live in is, that there's this is what the individual said, was that there's no culture here, and they weren't from here originally. I'm not from here where I'm at right now. I'm not from here either, but I thought that was interesting because immediately I just had questions. Like I didn't berate her or anything with questions. It just questions came to mind, like what was going through her mind, like what kind of culture are you looking for? How do you visualize that? Like since I've been here, there's been so many different opportunities, building this and that, like infrastructure out the wazoo, so much of that going on around, so many different jobs. You can go on and like just apply for a bunch of different jobs, see what you can get, and that's kind of the thing too. You have to try different things. You have to branch out, get out into the world and do. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Y'all have a great rest of your day, and I will see y'all in the next video.